Hi and welcome if you're watching this video. My name is Olivia and I'm going to be reading my novel Gasoline Rainbows. I haven't made a video for quite a while, so this is just a continuation of, let me turn that here, just a continuation of my video last time. Let me kind of scoot over and get in a better, there, okay. I hope you're all having a really good day, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend as well. Hope you're staying cool wherever you are. And again, thanks for joining me. So, this is Gasoline Rainbows, and let me know what you think of it. Another gang of ragamuffins formed up and spread out systematically within the boundaries of the firelight, looking for something. Stones, Myram Shoto informed me. When they each had an armful, they marched outward into the darkness, making a big circle around the remaining dozen and a half people in the fire pit we made our center. Myram Shoto took a teacup and scooped it inside the boiling cauldron. She put it to my lips and made me drink. It was scalding hot, and my lip skin felt like it just might peel off and lay in a heap on this muddy earth, but it didn't. When I was done, she scooped it in the cauldron again and made Tommy, then Marias, Rainier, Brant, Norsapine, Gemini, Corkallan, Beltime, and Sanofi Restel drinks. She watered the boys with stones, keeping the night watch. At the bottom of the cauldron, Myram Shoto showed me, were the limp, watery bodies of the red-orange flowers and their leaves. She picked them up with her bare hands and turned the cauldron over on the grass so that it formed a tiny tabletop. She smashed the bodies up in one palm and raised her arm up like she was going to throw an angry lightning bolt to the ground. The flowers got hurled at the cauldron, and everyone immediately gathered around except me. Myram Shoto beckoned me over and made me kneel by it while she kneeled across from me. I looked down at the flowers to see they were slithering, forming new shapes. She watched them move around, making first a toad, then a four-leaf clover, then a horse's head. Finally, it stopped when it was in the form of a lotus flower. That's she began, but stared at it so long without speaking that I offered. A lotus flower. You are not of us. You're an outsider. Your fortune is one of strange beginnings, twisted innards. I can't read these leaves. This fortune is one I don't know how to see. Dear Gabriel, put your head to the grass near the fire, said Tommy. It's time for you to sleep this day away. I did, and even as I was falling asleep, could hear them whispering things in my direction. I would hear rustling, movement, and crying of the beasts as they came to see what we were, but were met with stones that drove them back over the moors. There was an odd sensation of fear that came through me. It was different from being afraid in the dark that was depthless around me. This was fear from the pits, like when you realized fully and truly just how alone each of us is. And this idea sunk in as you were shoulder to shoulder with a stranger on a train, unable to contort your face or let out a lonely, exhausted moan. I woke up to see that the clan was nowhere in sight. The fog kept me company. The dead fire eyed me. I stood up and called out for Tommy. I called out for Myram Shoto and the stone throwers. Panicked again, I just meandered around in circles looking for any trace of them, too cowardly to wander very far from the fire pit in case one came back. But there was nothing to be seen, no trace. The ground had dried out, and I found a patch of wild flowers on the edge of the forest after I had waited until I could wait no more for them. The sun was out, and cottony clouds were sliding like silk over the morning sky. Lying there thinking about the house I grew up in, I thought that the sky looked the same as it did right at that moment. The clouds rolled home the same they did then. Pounding footsteps were coming, someone gasping for air. I shot up to see Myram Shoto with her head inside the fireplace. She was back! I got closer and saw that she was dismantling the interior of the fireplace brick by brick. Carelessly, she was throwing the unwanted clay squares behind her back. What are you doing? Unwavered, she looked at me and said, The money. The money is in these bricks. We're getting on a boat. A boat to where? All of you are going? Where am I supposed to go? I don't know what to do. I don't know where I am. The brick tearing continued. Myram Shoto, this is important. Where are you going? I can't just be left here. I can't. The place you said. America, or however a person is supposed to say it. America? I have to go. It's the first boat ever to head there. Isn't that exciting? Oh, look it here. I found it. She pulled a small knot of money wrapped in muslin from a brick hole. Goodbye, Gabriel. May the angels keep you. As she said this, she kissed me on the cheek and tore off into the forest. I leapt after her, running as fast as I could. I kept a pretty good eye on her, though she did have some distance I couldn't close. I kept yelling, Wait! But it only made me more out of breath, so I stopped yelling and just tried to catch up. The trees got thick. They were so thick I could barely see daylight anymore. She got so far so fast that I couldn't hear her footsteps breaking forest ground anymore. She was gone. And even then I kept running, but the path got rocky, and Myram was obviously gone to America, or however a person is supposed to say it. I sat against a tree and let out a long exhale. Inhale, deeper exhale. With each exhale, the moss grew bigger and breathed peace into me. I blinked and was standing on a sidewalk surrounded by people I had never seen, and they were all dressed like an episode of the Andy Griffin Show. Okay, so this next chapter is from Fielder. Poor fella stayed right by my side as I wandered around the sidewalks. These hippie-looking chicks were kicking a Jamaica-colored hacky sack around. It landed right at my feet. Not really in the mood, I stared at it until one of them came up to retrieve it and shoot me a sharp look for being the prick I was being. A guy came up and led me away saying, I don't like playing hacky sack with them either. Their hair's too, I don't know, for me. Where are you going? The Youngblood building? That's where I'm going. I'm not sure. I don't go to this school. I don't know where I am. We're all lost souls, are we not? Come with me, you'll like this class. We arrived in a classroom that was already full of students. Only 2 empty chairs remained, and they were across the room from each other. He ordered a beautiful girl to kindly move your ass across the room because my visiting guest needs this chair. She stepped and fetched without another word. Sorry, I whispered as she passed to her newly assigned location. What's your name? He asked me, and I told him it was Fielder. He was Goldfinch. I guess with a name like that, you really don't need a last name. The professor came in. Page 428, somebody Ginsburg. Who wants to read out loud? Goldfinch shared the book with me. Someone from the back volunteered, and his voice was shaky from get-go. America, blah blah, stuttering. Goldfinch started breathing heavy, irregular. He closed his eyes. The reading continued. Take your time, Pat. Slow down and just read, Goldfinch said with the tone of a mother who was talking to her rowdy child in a room full of her new colleagues. But the butchering of America went on until Goldfinch very calmly pushed his chair out. He faced the reader. He reached into his coat pocket, to pull out a small Ruger. Oh, Lord, the first human friend I made is a gunner. That certainly says something about me. Goldfinch said, if you cannot do justice to Allen Ginsberg, then stop reading it and let someone else do it. It happens to be... This poem could be someone's favorite poem, and when another person reads it in a very choppy and incorrect manner, it can be rather upsetting, don't you think? Don't you see how that could be upsetting, Pat? Pat, just like everyone except me, was under a desk, covering his or her face. For the record, whatever and wherever and whoever keeps track of such a thing, I thought Pat did fine. Goldfinch put his Ruger away and sat down, reassuring everyone that it was All right now. Nobody moved except the teacher, who was feeling blindly on his desk for the phone to get the police. I heard the rotary going. "What is wrong with you?" Pat asked from the back. "Do you want the long version or the short version?" was Goldfinch's reply. And Pat didn't know which he wanted, so Goldfinch nudged me and said it would be best for us to go now. Poor fellow was waiting outside the door for me. "What is wrong with you?" I asked when we were outside. I couldn't help it. When someone says, "What is wrong with you?" I ask out of courtesy if he or she wants the long version or the short version, because some people want to know, and some people just want to know your perception of what is actually wrong with you, and some people ask because they can see you are 1 week unwashed. Generally, the short version is best for both economy of time and for the keeping a thread any last morsels of privacy or dignity, he said. I nodded. "So do you want the long version or the short version?" he asked as we were moving down the empty sidewalk of his school. "Are you on drugs right now?" "Besides the ones the government puts in our water supply?" "Well, that's enough of an answer for me, Goldfinch." We hiked up winding staircases barely wide enough for the two of us to the library's top floor, where the art folio books and crusty classic novels lived. As we were scaling through the aisle to the back corner, I saw the man from the cabin standing in one of the rows. I caught a glimpse as I was walking by, but when I quick stepped back to see him, he was gone. I knew it was him, though. Looking at me with those watery eyes and work-charred hands, he was the one who wanted poor fellow to come say hey back in the cabin. Poor fellow was too scared in that dark place. Where are we? Granger Library. No, I mean, I didn't know how to go on. Maryland. It's on the east coast of the United States of America. I know where Maryland is, I said. He smiled at me honestly, maybe searching my face for something. In the corner, there was a bay window with a pillow in its sill big enough for the two of us to sit. Goldfinch pointed for me to sit there as he grabbed a book from the closest shelf without looking to see which one it was. "Tell me when to stop," he told me, flipping through the pages, his eyes making total contact with mine. "Stop." The little invisible poor fellow voice came through the air. Goldfinch stopped right as I said stop out loud, maybe a moment sooner. He turned the book over so its spine was up in the air. It read, "The Collected Poems of E. E. Cummings." Goldfinch took to writing something in a notebook. Well, to look at the bright side, I'd never been to Maryland. I had never been anywhere outside of Plain Cap, so I looked out at the people walking below on the sidewalk, all of them knowing where they were, all of them knowing what was going on. I forced a smile to come onto my face. Somewhere the sun is shining, I thought to myself, but not for me, not today. I tried to think there were a lot of people who go a lifetime without stepping outside their comfort zones, so maybe I should just smile and be thankful. I tried. Who knows how long I was gone, but I came to hearing pages ripping and shuffling of things on the library's stiff carpet bristles. He had removed about a dozen books from the shelves. I then watched him rip pages from each one and place them in other books, shuffling them all up and apart. He shut them all, put them back in the exact right places. He turned to me suddenly and said, "Put your shoes on, we're going to a party." I didn't remember taking them off. He pulled me up and flung me down the stairs alongside him. We didn't speak a word to each other until we came to a third-floor apartment across campus. We entered 303E without knocking. The carpet smelled stiff and new, but there was also a stench of spilled gin and a slight tinge of urine. It was a wreck. People were sitting on the floor on every surface. rolling around on the floor laughing, staring people, pointing up at the ceiling. There were groups of people lying on each other, stacked 3 high on the couch, reading from a book of poems to each other. Music was bumping from somewhere in the hallway. There were sorry. Ooh, like my mouth is going faster than my brain. There were posters of Nirvana, Sex Pistols, Sublime, and sunglasses. Goldfinch sat on a dusty-hued royal blue beanbag chair. There was a bucket of half-melted ice that held beer bottles. A plate of deviled eggs sat on the floor, dangerously close to being investigated by the scraggly, overweight cat. Goldfinch snatched the yellow-dotted plate up and held it out for me to take. Though I hate cats and almost gagged at the thought of that fat, hairy thing having his nose on the deviled egg I was about to eat, I did it anyway. I was starving. I ate another one. You people drink these where you're from? He asked, holding up a light beer. Not usually, I guess. Some people might. I replied. I mean you. Do you drink these? He wanted to know. Me? No, not really. Well, then what do you drink? We drink whiskey with Coke sometimes. Lagers, we like those. I like those. He looked down at the plate, said quietly and loudly, all at once, "You are such a bad apple." He hurled the plate at the wall. It shattered and smeared the wall with mustard yellow globs. The cat moseyed over to lick the broken bits of ceramic with food bits on them. Okay, so I'm just going to stop for right there, and we'll pick up next time when in comes a too hot to trot, too cool to breathe girl. So we'll pick up there next time. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks.